Welcome to the Magic in Moscato podcast. I'm your host, Jess Lynn, a single mama from a small town in upstate New York. I'm a former hustler who was drowning in debt turned money mindset, manifestation, and business coach. I help burnt-out online entrepreneurs step into their full authentic purpose, take massive aligned action, and live their most abundant lives. You might be thinking, magic isn't real, and this girl is nuts. Well, my friend, you're 50% right. I'm totally wacky, but magic is 100% real. I've discovered my life's work and passion teaching the law of attraction, quantum physics, and spirituality through years of diving deep into the inner parts of my soul after hitting rock bottom and fighting my way to the top. I'm so excited to share some of this work with you too. So grab a glass and let's cheers to magic. Okay, hopefully this works this time. I don't know what was going on with my service, with my live, but it was like glitching. I'm not gonna lie, I am very anxious today for like no reason. Like my body just feels really anxious. I also just feel really energetically depleted today. So words might not come out the way that I desire them to come out. But here we are, I'm committed, 365 live videos. And my girlfriend Taryn, she's actually a former client of mine. She is a rock star. She runs an online coaching business helping other women with their health and fitness. She's incredible with macros. I've actually referred quite a few of my clients to her. And she also has an online business called Boutique where she does custom bows. And they are awesome. But she sent me a text message today and she said, you need to do a training on obstacles versus knowing that you're not on the right path. So knowing when it's time to shift. Let me preface by saying if you have not watched this recording yet, I actually just uploaded it as episode 7 to my podcast. I talk about my journey with network marketing to being the CEO of my own business, Next Level Magic. And a lot of what I talk about in there, it's like a 45-minute long training, is a really great training for what I'm going to briefly touch on today. So it's really talking about getting clear on the vision, but letting go of how you're going to get there. So I knew as soon as I started my online entrepreneurship in 2015 that I wanted to serve men and women. I wanted to help women all over the world feel and live the best lives that they could possibly live. Like feel the best and know that their past circumstances don't define where they are or where they have the potential of going, and truly live into their best lives. Back then, I thought I could only do it one way. I thought that it was only with network marketing. However, I came upon a ton of obstacles. And so when I started doing this work was when I realized that even though I was very clear on the vision, I wanted to run a successful online business. I wanted to have a following where I help people live their best lives. I was so hyper-focused for the longest time on only achieving it one way, and I came upon obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and then I had to do the work to shift and be willing to see things differently, where now I still help women all over live their best lives. It's just not the way that I thought it was going to be. So let me first start by saying the fact that you even desire it is proof that it's meant for you. The fact that you even want it is proof that it's possible for you. The fact that you see people like me, the fact that you see people doing what you desire to do, means that you are also a match to do what they are doing. We only see things in our field of vision that allow us to tap into the potential that we can expand into. So when you are vibing at a different frequency, you literally see different things in your reality. When you do the work to raise your vibration, your reality literally shifts. So you start to see different potential. You start to see different people doing the things that you desire to do. And it's literally proof that it's possible for you. Obstacles instill growth. We have to face obstacles, not saying that we have to manifest obstacles, but obstacles are just a part of the human experience. If we did not have obstacles, life wouldn't be fun. If God literally handed you a playbook and said, in 2020, you're going to achieve this. In 2022, you're going to do it this way. In 2026, this is going to happen. And like you knew every single thing that was going to happen in your life, there would be no excitement. There would be no purpose in living because it wouldn't be fun. I actually find a lot of joy in figuring things out, because to me, my belief system is everything is figure outable. If we had the playbook, there would be no excitement because we'd have all the answers and there would be no purpose, no fulfillment, no growth. Obstacles instill growth. There is a difference, however, between facing an obstacle once or twice and using it to reflect and grow, using that obstacle as a way to overcome something and see it differently, using that obstacle as a way to see what you are capable of and to grow into the person, the leader, the entrepreneur, the mom, the partner, the spouse, whatever it is that you're meant to become. And continuing to see the same obstacle over and over and over again and not be willing to do things differently, right? I say this all the time. It's one of my favorite quotes. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right? So you need to ask yourself, when you start coming upon the same obstacle over and over and over again, is there a way that I can do this differently? What am I not seeing? What do I need to work on in order to shift and be able to pivot and do this an easier way? God does not want us to struggle. A huge reason why obstacles get thrown in our face time and time and time again is because the universe is trying to show us the path of least resistance. Humans are just stubborn as F, and we don't want to listen to it. And we say, no, this is the only way that I'm going to achieve that, right? So 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, me thought that the only way that I was going to achieve success as an online entrepreneur was with network marketing. So I was so focused on doing it this way and this way only and doing it the exact same way that everyone else at the top of the company had done it. And of course, I came upon the same obstacle after the same obstacle after the same obstacle time and time and time again. It wasn't until I hired a mentor who was doing the things that I desired to do, living her best life, creating a multiple six-figure business, doing it another way. And so instead of continuing to do things the way that I was doing them over here, I had to make an effort to pivot. And it wasn't easy because we're stubborn and we think that the only way that we're going to do it is our way. But those obstacles, if it's not an obstacle, like if we face the obstacle once or twice and we get over it and then boom, smooth sailing, great. But if you face the same obstacle over and over again, that is a sign that maybe you have to start seeing things differently, doing things differently. And so I hired a mentor and I literally had to pivot, and it was uncomfortable. It was literally doing my life backwards. It was like doing the reverse of everything that I was ever taught. It's like, imagine peeing sitting down your entire life and then all of a sudden someone's like, nah, you're gonna pee standing up. Like, it's probably pretty awkward at first, you know what I mean? A really fun little life hack, a pattern disruptor that I do with a lot of my clients. It's actually really fun and you guys can take this and run with it. And when we're trying to disrupt patterns, if you're someone who puts your pants on first and your shirt on second, I want you guys to consciously put your shirt on first and then your pants on. Guaranteed, you guys are going to watch this live video and you're going to be like, I can do that. I'm going to put my shirt on first tomorrow and then my pants. Guess what? Tomorrow morning, you're going to get ready. You're going to put your pants on first and your shirt on second. Because if that's the way you've always done things, that's your go-to. That's your standard. So when you see people doing things differently and then you start to implement those things, it's very uncomfortable. So it was literally deconditioning all the things that I had been taught and doing my life backwards. It's not comfortable by any means, but I promise you, once you stay consistent in it, things start to open up. So the difference between an obstacle and knowing that you need to shift and that maybe you might not be on the right path is asking yourself how many times you're willing to go up against the same obstacle. If you see this obstacle only once or twice, life is not perfect. There are going to be bumps in the road. But we don't need to go over the same speed bumps over and over and over and over and over again. That's not an answer that I can give you guys. That is not something that I could say, yep, this is exactly what you're doing wrong, and this is exactly how you're going to stop it, and this is exactly how you're going to disrupt this pattern. Only you guys know how to do that, right? Like, my mentor didn't have that much of a concept about network marketing, but she did have a concept of energy. And she did say, guess what? You're doing these same things every single day that are leaking your energy, and you're not getting the result that you desire. So you're doing all these things that are burning you out anyways, and you're not getting what you want. So why not just stop doing those things? And even if you don't get what you want, well, at least you have more energy at the end of the day. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to go do that. So the answer to that question is simply because you desire it means it's meant for you. Get more focused on the vision, get more focused on the essence, and let go of holding on to every step along the way. It is not going to look like you want it. In fact, it almost never does. You know why? Because it always turns out better. God always over-delivers. If not this, then something better, period. And that is how everything in my life has always played out. If not this, then something better. As soon as I stop hyper-focusing on how everything is going to get there, how I have to do every single step perfectly and just let go of all of it, everything falls into place every single time. I teach it. And I still catch myself in those patterns, okay? So the first thing is, because you desire it, it's meant for you, all right? So in 2015, I thought that successful online entrepreneur me was going to be with network marketing. Here I am 2 years after launching my own business, a 6-figure business, and seeing financial freedom, time freedom, a completely different way. It's never been easier. In fact, it's better than what I imagined. It allows me to be a rebel because I no longer have to play by other rules. I got my own map that I created for myself. I got my own playbook, my own rules, right? Number 2 is just obstacles are a sign of growth if you only come upon that obstacle a couple times. Once, twice, maybe 3 times, right? Like, it's a universal law that old energy has to play out before we go to the next level. So sometimes it takes a little while for the old energy to play out. So sometimes you're going to see a similar obstacle over and over again. But if you see the same obstacle 1 year in, 20 times a year, 2 years in, oh, we're still repeating the same patterns, I'm still seeing the same obstacles, that's a sign that it's time to shift, that there's an easier path. God does not want us to struggle. Whenever we face obstacles over and over again, it is literally God trying to get us on the right path. Like, hey, you're choosing to be a moron and like stay in this lane, even though I'm trying to show you that's not the right way. Go over here. It's easier. Try it this way. Right? Life gets to be fun. Life gets to be easy. A really good example for this, and this is like the phase of life that I'm in, because like I've done the success and money mindset thing. Like we're always kind of doing that, right? But like now it's like the relationship game. Feel free to go check out my stories if you want a little inside scoop of my reading today. But it's like I see the same women over and over and over again. Literally, it's like they get in a relationship. It's clearly toxic. They are single for a week and they're like, I'm single, I'm gonna work on me. And then like 2 days later, they're like in another relationship with another person. And then guess what? It's toxic again. Why? Because they are choosing to live into the same obstacle over and over and over again. There is an unhealed part of them that is being reflected back to them by the partners that they are calling into their space. We all do it. Like, we're all not perfect. Every single one of us has flaws. I have news for all of you. None of you are perfect. I'm not perfect. We all got shit. Okay? Like, you might look at people and think like, oh, they have it all together. We all have shit, okay? And so when I'm teaching things like this, I'm not teaching it from a place of like judgment. I'm literally teaching it from a place of like how we've all experienced this, right? That's why I've taken so much time to be single, because I'm very well aware of the patterns that I've played into over and over and over again, right? A lot of it is breaking karmic cycles. A lot of times we face obstacles because there's a karmic lesson that needs to be learned. And that is why, and here's the thing, that is why if you have friends, okay, if you have a friend that has, let's say they're in a relationship and their partner cheats on them 1,000,000 times. And like every time the girl's like, oh, your friend is like, I'm gonna leave them, I'm done. And then like 2 days later, they're back together. And then 2 weeks later, cheats again. Oh my, or she, whatever. Girls can do it too. Like, oh, I'm done. And then they keep going back to the same pattern. A lot of it is karmic. And I hate to break it to you, you cannot teach people out of their shitty patterns. There is no amount of mentorship that is going to help people heal their karmic wounds. I'm not saying stay in unsafe situations, okay? There's a difference between being in an unsafe situation and just being in a karmic cycle, okay? Like, I'm never going to be like, stay in an unsafe situation. But if there is a karmic situation, if there is a karmic lesson that someone has to learn, there is no amount of you should leave or you should mentoring, teaching, that is going to break that cycle for them. They have to learn the lessons themselves for the karmic cycle to break. So that's why when you have that friend that still goes back to the person that does them wrong over and over and over again, it's because they haven't learned the karmic lesson yet. They haven't broken the cycle. There's a karmic lesson that they have to learn on a soul level. Okay? And we all do it. But that is very similar to when you see people go back to the same type of relationship, when you see the girl that's literally jumps from relationship to relationship and attracts the same type of person in her life time and time and time again, is because they choose to face the same obstacle. They have to be willing to see and do things differently in order to get on the path of least resistance. And that often takes a lot of introspective work, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of personal growth, a lot of journaling, a lot of things that people tend to only do when they have time. Oh, I'll work on that when I have time. No, your life will shift when you make this work a priority. When you start to see and do things differently, your life will shift to meet your new standards. When you set a new standard, you literally vibe differently because you live in a different octave than the rest of the world. Okay? So obstacles are just opportunities for growth, but when you face the same obstacle over and over and over again, it's most likely God showing you there's an easier way, or it is a karmic lesson, and you could very well be in a karmic cycle. And sometimes you have to just let the karmic cycle figure itself out, because no one can teach you or coach you or mentor you out of that karmic cycle. You have to want to do the work on you. You can't want to change for someone else, okay? That's another thing too, is if you think that you're going to change because if you change, then this other person will come back to you, or then this other person will want to be with you. No, you have to do the work on you because you want to become the best version of you. And that's why you hire mentors, because mentors help you see your personal power. There is personal power, and then there are external circumstances. We cannot change based on our external circumstances. We have to want to grow our personal power. It's two completely different energies. So that's kind of the long but short answer of the difference between obstacles and knowing when maybe you're not on the right path. Okay, so obstacles, once, twice, maybe 3 times. It's just sometimes old energy playing out, supposed to promote growth, right? Growing into the leader that you're always meant to become. I've grown into a person where I face level 2, 3 problems pretty regularly, but I'm a level 10 person. Okay, so these level 2, 3 problems that other people are holy shit, that's a really big problem. It's because they haven't grown into the person that's capable of handling those obstacles and seeing them as a no-brainer. It's not that entrepreneurs, that successful people don't have problems. We do. We have a lot of them. We've just grown into the person that's these level 2, 3, 4 problems. I've been there before. I've done it over and over again. I know that when I face those problems again, it's going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy. But if I'm a level 10 person and I'm facing a level 12 problem, that's feeling like a pretty big problem, right? And so we're probably not going to tackle that level 12 problem overnight. But we have to grow into the person that's capable of doing it. Level 12 problem means we have to grow into a level 12 person, right? And then guess what? You tackle that level 12 problem, you feeling like a baddie, and then all of a sudden, you're I'm a level 13 person. This level 12 problem, it's a no-brainer. Meanwhile, there's other people watching you and they're holy smokes, how does he do that? How does she do that? It's just being willing to see obstacles as opportunity for growth. Then, it's also knowing when you're seeing the same obstacles over and over again, and it's becoming a pattern, and that's either a karmic cycle that you have to do the work on yourself personal power over external circumstances, okay? So you have to do the work on yourself to break that cycle, or a sign that you have to be willing to see and do things differently and pivot. Look for someone who's doing what you desire to do and ask them for their guidance. I promise you, it'll make all the difference. So that's what I have for you guys today.